Good morning to all. And today we are going to see the last topic of unit number 3 will be TD-SCDMA. So TD-SCDMA is one of the third generation wireless mobile service standard. So this TD-SCDMA will differs from CDMA 2000 as well as WCDMA. So WCDMA stands for wideband code division multiple access. So this wideband code division multiple access is a third generation standards. It employs two types of access method like direct sequence code division multiple access method as well as FDD method, that is frequency division duplexing method. So this WCDMA will provide high speed towards the network. So when we are comparing the advantages of TDD usage as access method over traditional FDD method, that is we are going to comparing the time division duplexing over the frequency division duplexing. So the time division duplexing, they has no paired frequency. So what is the drawback of paired frequency means if the two paired frequency are close to each other, the transmitter can be overloaded the receiver. That means the transmitter will send the overload information to the receiver. So but when you are going for the TD-SCDMA, there is no overload problem, because this TD-SCDMA we are going for TDD, and TDD they has no paired frequency. Similarly, in the TDD they use the same frequency for both uplink as well as downlink transmission. Suppose we are using the uplink frequency as 1.4 GHz, means the same 1.4 GHz will be using for the downlink transmission. Some third advantages, this TDD is suitable for asymmetric uplink and downlink transmission rate, especially for the IP type data services. So already we know that the meaning of asymmetric data or asymmetric traffic is nothing but multiple routes which is used for incoming as well as the outgoing transmission. That is nothing but the asymmetric uplink or downlink transmission rate. Similarly, this TD-SCDMA they will adapt for uplink as well as downlink ratio according to the data load as well as the data rate. So this TD-SCDMA they will provide a data rate ranges from 1.2 kilobyte per second to 2 megabit per second. So this is a data rate which can be providing by TD-SCDMA. So next we are going for the term system architecture. So this TD-SCDMA wireless system, they has a similar set of network components which are using in the third generation network. So TD-SCDMA they use third generation partnership project core network at the RAN, and this corresponding network will be connecting to the GSM, WCDMA or TD-CDMA network. So the RAN portion of TD-SCDMA node B network will employ a combination of FDMA and TDMA and CDMA protocol. That is, the RAN portion has two types of layer. One will be TD-SCDMA as well as the node B. So this TD-SCDMA RAN portion as well as the TD-SCDMA node B, they will use the protocols of FDMA, TDMA as well as CDMA protocols. So in this figure we will show the TD-SCDMA network that will interfaces with 3GPP core network. So I will show in the diagram. So this is the TD-SCDMA system architecture. So in this corresponding case, so this will be the RAN portion. So this RAN portion has TD-SCDMA RNC network along with TD-SCDMA node B network, and this TD-SCDMA node B and TD-SCDMA RNC they are using the combination protocols of FDMA, TDMA and CDMA. So similarly, this corresponding TD-SCDMA whole network will be interfacing with 3GPP core network. So this is a 3GPP core network. So here we are using only one TD-SCDMA cell. So other radio access systems are not shown in the diagram. they can simply included, and they will provide the interfaces at MSC as well as the SGSN. So MSC stands for Mobile Switching Center and SGSN stands for Serving GPRS Support Node, and GPRS stands for General Packet Radio Services, which can be looked after in the previous videos like UMTS core network architecture. So next we are going for the term. So this corresponding TD-SCDMA, they has IP based network which having the architecture of release 4 and release 5, especially using for UMTS. By using this release 4 and release 5 architecture, the IP based core network, they will facilitate many services and they mainly address the issues of interfacing problem with numerous appliances as well as the services. But this technique will not be using in the TD-CDMA. That is, in TD-CDMA we cannot tolerate or we cannot reduce the interference problem. But when we are going for TD-SCDMA, we can tolerate or reduce or avoid the interference problem by using some types of technique. That is, one more important point, this TD-SCDMA, they use TDD as access method, which allowing both asynchronous as well as the synchronous operation. So to avoid the interference, we are using the technique called interference mitigation technique. So this interference mitigation technique, they will use some types of additional network components like smart antennas and joy detection as well as the uplink synchronization. So for the interference mitigation technique, we are using only the uplink, not the downlink. So for the joy detection, we are using the term called mobile rack receiver. So the mobile rack receiver is nothing but it is used in CDMA cellular system. They will combine multiple components as well as the main condition given for this mobile rack receiver, they use to improve the SNR at the receiver side. So by using these types of technique, we can reduce the interference as well as we can increasing the pole capacity. If increasing the pole capacity, automatically we can attain high efficiency as well as the high data rate speed. Therefore, the radio access network RAN interface, they require the use of 1.6 MHz spectrum. As well as this RAN, they will enable to have multiple carrier within the same bandwidth as similar as WCDMA, CDMA 2000 as well as the TD-CDMA carrier. Next we are going to see the two variants of TD-SCDMA. So the first variant will be LCR. It is a low chip rate and require the release 4 architecture to be implemented in the core network. So already we have studied the topic chip rate in the CDMA. So once again I recall the point. So the chip rate is nothing but it is the number of pulse per second, or you can also use the word chip per second at which the code is transmitted or received. I once again repeat, the corresponding chip rate is nothing but it is a number of pulse per second or chip per second at which the code is transmitted or received. That is nothing but the chip rate. So next we are going for the term TSM. So in TS-CDMA system, the TSM is mainly used for GSM core platform. So here the all IP architecture will be enhanced by using this TSMA process. So in this case, the logic will be placed within user equipment as well as the user equipment will support the session initiation protocol. So the session initiation protocol is nothing but we already know that it is used for initiation, maintaining and modifying and terminating the real-time sessions. So what are all the process involving in this session initiation protocol? Nothing but voice transmission, data transmission, encoding process, decoding process, etc. And this corresponding actions will be occurs between two or more endpoint on the IP network. That is nothing but the SIP. Therefore, this user equipment, they will effectively become as a SIP user agent, and this SIP user agent have a great control of services with helping of the TSM variants. So the most important term will be the user equipment, and that user equipment will become as a SIP user agent, and this SIP user agent has control all the services regarding to the TD-SCDMA. Next we are going to term TD-SCDMA services. This TD-SCDMA, they will support circuit switch services additional to packet with IP services. So the circuit switch data rates are defined in the following level like 12.2, 64, 144.4, 384 and 2048 kbps. Similarly, the packet data rate given for this TD SCDMA services will be defined as 9.6, 64, 144.4, 384 and 2048 kbps. So according to the TD SCDMA radio spectrum, this have 1.6 megahertz contiguous spectrum for the individual channel, not for all channel. So each individual channel has a radio spectrum of 1.6 megahertz, as well as they are also using the guard band of 100 to 200 kilohertz. The meaning of guard band is nothing but the protection band. They will restrict the network or they with other types of radio frequencies or radio spectrum levels. Next we are going to the term channel structure. So here the channel structure of TD CDMA will be shown in the other diagram. So this TD CDMA they are using uplink and downlink allocation separately, even though the uplink and downlink are same carrier, because in TDA CDMA we are using same carrier as well as the same bandwidth. Even though we are using the same carrier frequency or same bandwidth, we are going to allocate the radio resource for uplink and downlink separately. So in this channel structure of TD SCDMA consisting of total of 7 time slots for each SCDMA carrier. So each carrier has a radio frame that is 10 ms in length, because that 10 milliseconds in length. So the radio carrier is made up of 2 separate subframe. So this is the diagram for the TDMA SCDMA channel structure. Here it consisting of corresponding level of 10 millimeters, each carrier consisting of 10 milliseconds in length. So radio carrier is made up of two separate subframes. So this is one subframe and this is the second subframe consisting of 2 separate subframe, and each subframe will made up of 7 corresponding time slots. So these are the 7 time slots. So total of 16 spread codes are used within TD SCDMA. One more important point, these codes are orthogonal to each other like CDMA codes, and their appearance will be looked as a part of a tree. So the tree for the code sequence, they will show or detect about the potential data throughput, what is the efficiency of the particular network, what is the data rate, what is the data throughput of the particular network can be occur. So this is the channel structures given for the TD SCDMA conditions. So next we are going for the term interference mitigation technique. So here the TD SCDMA, they has a self interference problem because we are using TD. Suppose we are using FD, the entire structure will be suffered by the interference problem. We are going for the TD, time division duplexing. So therefore self interference problem will be occurring on the TD SCDMA. So to reduce this interference problem, we are using the technique called interference mitigation technique. For this interference mitigation technique, TD SCDMA, they using the combination of several network components like smart antennas, joint detection, nothing but the mobile rack receiver and uplink terminal synchronization, as well as the dynamic channel allocation. So in the previous slide we see that we are going to allocate the different resources, allocate the radio resource for the different level of uplink as well as downlink, even though we are using the same carrier frequency and same bandwidth, but the radio resource allocation for downlink as well as uplink will be separate. So last slide will be the handover. This handover will be similar to the TD CDMA. That is correspondingly this we are going to using several types of level to selecting the monitoring power, like by SIR, path loss, interference power, received power level on broadcast channel. SIR, we know that will estimate are used in several control action and to optimal allocation of radio resources. So this handover process is implemented in mobile unit as well as the RNS. So first we are going to see what is the important activities will be held over in the user equipment, nothing but the mobile unit. So this mobile unit, they will measuring the radio connection of downlink performance as well as the signal received signal strength, as well as the quality of the signals, etc. And these types of activity will be measured by using the mobile unit or nothing but the user equipment. Next we are going to see what all the activities will be measured by the RNS. This RNS will measure the uplink performance as well as the position information for the user equipment, in which position the particular mobile unit is located, in which position the particular base station is located, what is the distance between the base station as well as the mobile unit. So these type of activities will be measured by using RNS. As well as this RNS, they will measure the conjunction with different thresholds, and based upon the different threshold, they will calculate the handover strategy. The handover strategy, nothing, we already know that we are using two types of handover. One will be soft handover and hard over. So based upon the threshold level, they will determine the strategy. So based upon the strategy, they will make the decision. The decision, nothing but either going for soft handover or hard handover. So up to this, we finishing the entire topic. Thank you.